forex trader, and how does that compare to you? What does
Yeah.
it look like? What is it?
It looks like I won't look at you right now, but this is just the direction my microphone is placed in. At a bank, they go into the office. There's sales traders and then prop traders. So there's a guy that picks up the phone, and a manufacturing company in Topeka says, "Hey, I want to buy 10 million euros." And then the sales guy puts down the phone, screams across the room and says, "I got to get 10 million euros," and somebody else does the deal. They might even do it electronically. And so that's kind of a typical day. It's going back and forth, and nobody wants to answer the phone at 3 p.m. because they're going to go home and they don't want to take a trade that sits on the books overnight. And then there's that dynamic going on all around the world at different banks. Then there are prop traders. Wells Fargo. I went to Wells Fargo in 2007, 8, or 9, and I toured just a 2-room, dingy, gross carpet, and there were just 6 people sitting in a room, and they were managing a few $100 million of Wells Fargo money. Like literally, they were just like an internal fund that traded the currency market, and they had one manager who just sat there, and he managed them all day long. And like they all had their different method and system of trading, and they would try to find out what was going to happen next, and they would take a bunch of trades. And then you have hedge funds that need currency to do transactions, or they even trade currency for profit. Generally speaking, if you see a hedge fund or even Warren Buffett making money from the currency market, they're making money by trading options on the currency market. There was an annual letter from Berkshire Hathaway about 10 years ago where Buffett disclosed that he was long the Australian dollar, that he had a ton of long-term options on the Australian dollar, which sounded really weird, but he did have it, and I'm sure that turned out to be a great trade for him. And he was, probably trying to make sure that if the value of the Australian dollar went up, that his businesses weren't negatively affected. So he would make enough money on the options trade in profit to compensate for the fact that stuff they buy from Australia was getting more expensive. So you have those kinds of people that are trying to offset and hedge currency movements. And then you have the retail trader at home that is, generally speaking, sitting in front of a bunch of computers like this, looking at charts and then trading short term. I look at the US dollar Mexican peso a lot. So I'll look at that and I'll wait for what appears to be the building up of tension and then a really, really big move. And I'll trade that as a speculator. I also have a series of robots that just run in the background, but these are all such small amounts of money. Even when I'm trading a $160,000 account, still such a small amount of money compared to any of the other investors or traders that we just talked about. And then I sat next to, I can't remember this name. This guy's name was Guy. His last name was Guy or his first name was Guy. And I sat next to him I got upgraded to first class on a flight 7 years ago, and I was sitting next to this guy, and I told him I was a currency trader, and he was a hedge fund manager, and they had just done some gigantic transaction, just a huge transaction, to buy a record company. I can't remember. Anyway, he said that he got his start trading currency, but trading super esoteric and exotic currencies. As a hedge fund trader at another fund, he would trade like Afghan currency for, just crazy stuff. And of course that blossomed into options. And so he was really still big into trading options on weird, exotic, esoteric currencies. So how does that differ from my day? I come into the office, I check out the robots, and I see if there are any super giant long-term trades that I want to hold for a very long time. I bought the British pound yesterday morning, and I fully expect to hold that for 60 to 90 days, maybe even a year. I held a Euro Turkish lira trade for 3.5 years, and I lost money on the movement of the currency, but I made money on the interest rate. So I lost $1,000 in currency value, but I made $3,000 in interest payments on holding that currency. So I'm trading robots that run automatically, and then other things that just are super long-term trades that I intend to hold. And then I'm not really all this extra computer space is just there to show me pictures of Tesla Roadsters and watch sports highlights. Like, it's not really, I'm not going to use all of these monitors for trading. I started my career as a currency trader watching Major League Baseball games on one of my 3 gigantic monitors. Major League Baseball was it was the first sporting organization to broadcast its games over the internet. So I would watch every single New York Yankees game and do my trading and stuff. I don't know, that's how my day differs. Like, I'm messing around a lot.
Right.
We could call this, like, podcast, like, messing with Rob. Like, what is that when it's messing with Sasquatch, right?
Yeah.
It's it's already been taken, so we can't do it. But anyway, that's kind of how my day differs. I'm done here in the office talking to traders or talking into a microphone. I'm done with my trading hours ago. And then we mess around here in the office, and we might have a trader come in. Yesterday we had one of our friends come in and hang out for a while and talk. And then I go home and hang out with the family. I think that's a pretty big difference between people that sit in front of the computer
Right.
all day. So that's the main difference. I don't sit in front of the computer all day. Anyway, I sit in it long enough that I bought this really nice chair. Look at this. You can sit this way in this chair.
Oh, wow.
You can sit this way in the chair. Super comfortable. I should have been doing this the whole time. It's made by Fully, Fully. They don't pay me for this, but they should. This podcast was not sponsored by Fully. Anyway, love you all. Thanks for listening or watching. See you later, everybody. Bye for now.